Hello and welcome back to the Imperial Hotel in Blackpool for continued live coverage of the 2018 World 8-Ball Pool Championships. Next up we've got the men's team match between Wales and France. Going to be providing split screen coverage for this match, so the match being played across the two tables. Best of 25 frames all told. Match on the right hand side, the two you just saw lagging, Elliot Coombe for Wales and Charles Le Pavec for France. And it's Charles Le Pavec who gets us underway in that frame. Whilst meanwhile on the left hand side of the arena we've got Tom Price against Francois Maritel. So Wales quickly away on the left hand side of the arena, Tom Price taking yellows. Decent opportunity also for France on the right hand side, also on the yellow balls. Important match this for both teams. Wales in particular staking a very powerful claim for progress through to the latter knockout stages. They currently lie second in the table. 7 wins from the first 8 matches that they've played. France lagging a bit further behind, 4 matches from the 9 that they've played. They're certainly going to need a win today if they're going to qualify for the knockout stages. First blood though to Wales. You see Tom Price waste absolutely no time notching that frame up. So a bit of work still to do on the right hand side. Charles Le Pavec got off to a decent start here but slipped into a slightly tricky position. Almost pulls out a tricky pot to the right centre, but just slightly overcuts it. Elliot Coombe will be very happy to be at the table. I think just slightly disappointed that the red top left has now just been covered by that yellow, otherwise this would be a very presentable opportunity. Still a good chance though. You can try and get high on it and drop it in the middle pocket potentially, or play a double on it. Meanwhile, a familiar face steps up on the left-hand side of the arena. Yannick Beaufils, fixture of these championships for many years. I remember watching him probably 15 years or so ago. Had some good runs in the singles tournament. He had a few years when he was away from the tournament, but back in a big way now. And his opponent from Wales will be Andy Williams in this frame. Good clearance on the right hand table from Elliot Coombe. Takes advantage of Le Pavec's mistake. Wastes no time at all clearing up. So in double quick time that's 2-0 to Wales, and already showing signs of why they're currently lying second in the league table. I think actually our graphics showing a best of 25 for this match, but I think if the team sheet I'm looking at is correct, actually a best of 21. Going to be playing 3 lots of 7 frames, so each player getting a maximum of 3 frames. Teams can nominate a squad of up to 10 players, so potentially some reserves to come in. Wales has got 3 on the bench, France just the 1. It's likely that we'll see at least some of those players make an appearance. Gareth Roberts stepping up to break on the right hand side. His opponent will be Stéphane Bonnet. Well, good solid break. For a moment it looked like the cue ball was tracking towards the top left hand corner pocket, but another ball stepped in the way and pushed it away, which he'll be relieved to see. Yellow ball potted, so still a choice of options. Yellow would appear to be favourite. You'd have to say this looks a superb layout for Gareth Roberts on the right hand table. These yellows are in such a straightforward position at the bottom of the table. He doesn't really need to move the cue ball anywhere at all. Roll them in. And that's exactly what you want in a team match. When you're playing this format where you only get 1 frame at a time, maximum of 3 frames in the match for each player, you've got to make a quick impression. It's not like a singles match where you're playing a best of 15 potentially, maybe even more in the latter stages. It gives you time to get into it. Here you've got to hit the ground running, and that break just could not have worked out better for Wales. In fact, it looks very much like he's going to clear the table off the break in the time that about 2 shots have been played on the left hand side of the arena. Yannick Beaufils, one of the best overseas players we've seen at this Championships, but also one of the most measured. He's not someone to rush around the table. So 3-0 to Wales in absolutely no time at all. But France's first frame doesn't look like it's going to be far behind. Yannick Beaufils just needs to deposit this black into the top right hand corner. And it's down. Great stuff from both teams so far. Quick fire, quick potting, good quality play all round. Sometimes this kind of 1 frame pool can end up more tactical because people have less of opportunity to stake their claim, so they don't want to go for anything too reckless. But here there's been none of that so far. The players playing at breakneck speed, both in terms of the quality of the play and actually literally just in terms of how fast they're playing. Certainly the Welsh lads look to be fairly racing around the table. So, breaking on the right hand side, John Coleman for Wales, his opponent Cedric Lequelec. Opting for the cut break, hitting the second ball down in the pack. It's been a pretty popular approach in the last few years. Some people feel it's a better way of guaranteeing a pot and you don't very often go in off. It does tend to lead to the balls being a bit more clustered around though. Different approach on the left hand side, just going for all out power, and you see the result of that, the cue ball's gone in. So, just to correct myself, Cedric Lequelec was breaking, in fact, on the right hand side. See, he's potted a red off the break and elected to go with reds. He's got himself into a bit of a mess though. He's somehow slipped behind that yellow ball. Suddenly finds himself almost snookered on all of his reds. Also France in play on the left hand side, Victorine Labarre taking on Alex Lewis of Wales. So Lequilec gets himself out of that snooker, but turns the table over to John Coleman. Very watchable stuff indeed so far this match. We've had plenty of matches today where it's taken an hour plus to play the first 4 frames, whereas this one has taken all of about 5 or 10 minutes to get the job done. Good opportunity this for John Coleman on the right hand side. Waving the cue ball away from the cushion, he just wanted a cue ball a bit further out, which I take from that he didn't really want to take the one down the left hand cushion first, although if he could take this one, get it out of the way, that's the one difficult ball on the table. You would feel he could drop this in and run through. Always got to give them care and attention though when they're right tight to the cushion like this. See there, he didn't hit that too badly, but just pushed it into the jaw. It's enough to see it hanging on the table. So second chance for Cedric Lequilec. Not had as far to come as some of the teams, of course, France, but nonetheless nice to see these overseas teams making the effort. Adds a bit to the pressure for them. Not all of the French team speak a whole lot of English, so it's slightly unfamiliar surroundings some of them find themselves in. Though I think often that has the effect of creating a better team spirit, actually. Some of the teams where they're surrounded by their countrymen, they're going to have friends outside the team and other distractions, tend to be slightly more cohesive units. The teams that have travelled over here from further afield together often spend a bit more time socialising together. And this is looking to be good stuff from the Frenchman on the right hand side of the arena, wasting little time seeing off these red balls. Just got to drop this red in and then the black hanging over the centre pocket for him. Hear the shouts in the background, his teammates willing him on. Be a big roar as this black goes down. So Wales went 3-0 up, but 2 quick frames from France have made a proper match of it. So all 21 frames will be played. It's important who wins the match because you get points in the league for that, but it's also important how many frames you win. So in the event that the teams are tied on points, percentage of frames won will be used as the deciding factor. So big wins are important, and it's also important if you're on the losing side to keep it as close as possible. Alex Lewis for Wales on the left hand side, making a decent job of these yellows so far, but no opportunity for the full clearance, so taking what's on offer and getting it safe again. Victor Labar finds himself in a snooker he could have done without. On the right hand side, Murad Baish steps up against Richard Gifford. It's the Frenchman to break. I didn't quite catch the front of the pack, the cue ball just skimming off the side of the front ball, but Red's found the top right hand corner pocket, so France stay at the table. Oh, and great shot over on the left hand side. Victor Labar comes out of the snooker, On off the left-hand side cushion, deposits the red in the middle. Now suddenly they're all there for the taking. Can pot the red bottom right, just needs to control the cue ball. It's a fairly big margin for error, but it's just got to be careful that he doesn't get the cue ball wrapped up in, get it stuck behind the yellow or anything silly like that. Or indeed behind the black, following that route, but just about okay. Drops this red in the centre, then he'll have a simple black. And this has been a good response from France. They went 3-0 behind, but don't seem remotely phased by it. They know it's a long match. Black ball's down. That's 3 apiece now. Morad Bache for France on the right has taken the yellow balls and is about to try and negotiate this one down into the vicinity of the bottom left-hand corner pocket. He's made a pretty good job of that. That was extremely thin, cutting it down like that. I figured that if he could cover that pocket, that would be strategically advantageous. He didn't want to do that. Richard Gifford for Wales, looking to cover that bottom right. Ball's just slipped in. It really has been a very good performance from Wales so far in this tournament. Won 7 of the 8 matches they've played, 58% of the frames they've played. Got a comfortable lead over Ireland, who are 3rd in the table. And lagging only to England, who, as always, have put on a very strong showing and have won all 9 of the matches they've played. Come into the tournament each year as favourites and living up to that tag this year. Good team though the Welsh have got. Some familiar faces that play on the UK Tour and other big tournaments around the UK. The home nations always have the advantage, of course, of so much competitive pool available to them. Pool's pretty big in France as well though, so no surprise to see the French team look to be experienced match players. This is now looking fairly promising for France on the right hand side. A little bit of tactical play in the middle of the frame, but now the yellows all in pretty accessible positions. Morad just going to look to drop this yellow in bottom left, then take the one along the cushion next. He's left himself pretty much the perfect angle for that. Natural angle just to drop this one along the bottom cushion. The white will come up. Well, in fact, he's slightly overdone that. I think he wanted to make sure he got himself over that side of the table to leave an angle. He's left this a bit thinner than he needed to. So slightly delicate one. Flirts with the middle pocket, but I think that's just about okay. He's done his best to run too far for this black, but I think he can just chip it back into the centre pocket. In fact, he still had the 2 shots, so no problem at all. So, smiling Morad Bache shakes hands with Richard Gifford, who looks slightly less enthusiastic about the result of that. So, having been 3-0 up, Wales suddenly find themselves 4-3 behind. Great quality of play all round though, such a watchable match. We all like to see the occasional tactical frame, but you can't really beat this quick-fire clearances that both of these teams are reeling off at the moment. There seems to be a real enthusiasm and spirit about both teams. Both look to be enjoying their evening's work. It's not come out quite right though for Elliot Keem over on the left. Just needed the cue ball to run a bit further into the bulk end to open up that yellow. Stéphane Bonnet meanwhile breaks off on the right hand side, unable to find a pot though, so turns the table over to Tom Price, one of the most dangerous of the Welsh contingent. Tom Price has been a fixture of this tournament for some time and has had a couple of deep runs in the singles competition. Got slightly across that one, Yannick Beaufils over on the left. Had a chance to punish Elliot Keem for his poor positional shot, but somewhat let him off the hook here. Nothing wrong with that positional shot, save for the fact that he's a bit closer to the side cushion than he wanted. As a result, wasn't able to play absolutely prime position on the black, but he's left it just off straight up to the top right. Can't really see too much problem I was about to say with that. You can certainly see a problem with the outcome of that shot though. A great opportunity this for Beaufils. These were the kind of opportunities years back when he was one of the foremost singles players in the world, making deep runs in the singles element of this competition. He used to relentlessly clear up from these kind of positions. Very considered player, not somebody to rush into a shot unnecessarily. One of those players that grinds it out, plays the right shot all the time. It's been a few years since I've watched him play, but actually he looks to have sped up a little bit over how he used to be. Still seems to have the same consistency around the table though. He was ideally hoping to double this red on the left hand side cushion. He's just got the angle to do that. The white will naturally be coming in and out of bulk. Well, that's not a great outcome. To just slightly force that angle there, I think. He just needed to run down the table a couple of inches further with the previous positional shot. Elliot Keem doesn't need to be asked twice though. Shake of the head as he walked away from the table, but got the frame on the board, which is the main thing. So Wales pull that one back, level the scores again at 4 frames all. Not too much to choose between the players over on the right hand side. France, in the shape of Stéphane Bonnet, are yellows and are at the table, which is obviously an important factor, but still got the yellow tied up on the right hand side cushion, so it's not going to be an absolute formality from here. Well, innovative idea that. Bonnet thought he could play the yellow off the red as a means of opening things up. Wasn't too far away from doing that. Fortunately for him, as a byproduct, he's got the table considerably more open for Tom Price, who will now fancy his chances. Nice positional shot there, checking up with, well, in fact almost too much left-hand side. Saw the cue ball come quickly off the first cushion, and then the side really bit when it hit the baulk cushion. He was hoping to be a bit straighter on the red on the left-hand side of the table. Can't really now pot that and hold for the one along the bottom cushion, which would have been ideal. So, I think to go a slightly different way about things. It's not turned out quite right. Still cut this red in. I think it does go past the yellow. And that's very much rescued the situation. He's got a delicate one still along the bottom cushion. He's got a little bit more angle than he wanted, so he's going to have to be very careful with this shot. As long as he holds the white, he'll be okay here. No, in fact, he couldn't hold the white, so he's decided to try and come up and down. He's got slightly caught between the options there. He played up and down thinking he couldn't quite hold it, which I think was probably right, seeing the angle he had, but slightly underdone the position now. Okay, still, I think to clip this one in the middle, it's just, what happened, or is he going to double it? Oh, very good shot that from Price. Could potentially have clipped it, but he's going to massively lose control of the white, whereas that way he was able to play a much more controlled shot. Well, there were a couple of moments where he made that look a little bit more difficult than he needed to, but Tom Price gets the job done, as he's done so many times over the years. Gets Wales ahead again, this time by 5 frames to 4. It was also Wales that had the chance to notch one up on the left-hand side, but that uncharacteristic miss there from Andy Williams has let Charles Lepavec back in. You can't really see too much going wrong here with the Reds. Didn't have to play the red off the yellow there, but decided to do so to hold better position for the red into the opposite middle pocket. Got the choice now of either playing the red into the left middle, or the top middle as we look at it, or can play the plant down the bottom left hand side of the table. I think ordinarily you'd probably prefer to get the ball, yeah, this is the ball he's taking. I was going to say, you'd ordinarily prefer to get that one out of the way so you don't have to go back for it. What's he done here though? Has he run too far to be able to see the plant? Be annoyed with himself if he has. Quite a big gap to get through. Now, yeah, you can see he can't play the plant. He's going to have to play off this one instead. Well, it all depends what Andy Williams can do with this. This is not by any means a straightforward shot, but if he can dig this one out, that could really change the complexion of the frame. Oh, lovely piece of cueing there from Andy Williams. Strokes the long yellow in. And that's a mistake from Lepavec. He had this frame in the palm of his hand at one point. Just played a slightly loose positional shot. No mistake from Andy Williams with the black. Wales go ahead by 2 again, this time by 6 frames to 4. Francois Maritel at the table for France on the the right hand side, just considering what he wants to do. Just got one problem yellow, which is the one bottom right. Opts for the deliberate foul. Figures that even if he gives 2 shots away on the Reds, it's no easy opportunity for Gareth Roberts to do anything. Not absolutely sure about that assessment, because he did leave that opening pot. Deliberate fouls like that are generally better, where you can play them in such a way where you don't leave an opening red, because don't leave an opening pot on whatever colour. So that ball hangs over the pocket, but still got to like the position of the red balls for Wales over on the right hand side. I think you'd like to have that one again though. Gareth Roberts has played a containing safety of a fashion, but also knocked the red safe, which is somewhat less ideal. Not much that Francois can do though, and as a result Gareth's now going to have the opportunity to move that red back into play over the left hand corner pocket. Or better still, in the left hand corner pocket. Great potters, all of these. Well, all of these players, but I was particularly going to highlight the Welsh. There's been some great pots in the last few minutes. People are stroking in long balls along cushions, although they're hanging over the pockets. So, have they weathered the onslaught? Wales went 4-0 up. France then pegged 4 back. But it's Wales who are in the ascendancy at the moment. Won the last 2 frames, and it looks very much like they're going to make that 3 in a row. Oh, what a great cross double there from Gareth Roberts to secure Wales' 7th frame. Great display of attacking pull from both teams at the moment. Seen the odd safety shot well required, but otherwise people have really been taking the bull by the horns. It's nice to see a quick-paced game like this. Balls being deposited all over the place. Oh, meanwhile, what a lovely nudge. Oh, moving over to the coverage on the left-hand side of the arena. Lovely little nudge to end up in absolutely prime position for France. Looks like Victor and Labar will be getting this frame on the board for them. So, yes, another lightning quick frame. Victor and Labar defeats John Coleman. Pulls one back for France. France now trail by 5 frames to 7. Meanwhile, dry break from Marad Baish lets Alex Lewis in for a look on the right hand side of the arena. In fact, in off, I should say, was what led him in. Very good player, Alex Lewis. Played on the UK tour for a number of years. Currently looking a little bit exasperated with what he's done, but at least he's still at the table. Over on the other side, Richard Gifford for Wales up against Cedric Lequelec. Well, aggressive shot from Alex Lewis, but that's not quite worked. So the man from France, the smiling man from France, he comes to the table. Marad Baish won his first frame. Be very happy to join that with a second frame. Oh, and that's a really good positional shot. That angle did not look on at all. Played with a whole load of right hand side to manufacture that. He seems to have got the memo about the quick play as well. Looks pretty purposeful. We'll do a bit of work here. It's easy enough to drop this ball along the bottom cushion, but just trying to get the white back up the table. Yeah, if he'd just been dropping that ball in, I think he'd have been okay, but it was the fact that he had to put a bit more pace into it was what cost him there. He's got a second visit, but still not in prime position. Going to have to pop the one over the corner pocket in order to get himself back where he needs to be on the table. Flirts with the middle pocket. Well, holds up his hand here. I tell you for nothing, he has not played that positional shot to end up on this red up the left-hand side cushion. This is a real bonus to finish right behind this one. No wonder the man's smiling. Well, it's good to see he's enjoying himself. It's a nervous moment as that red hung in the jaws of the top left-hand corner, but down it goes. For the most part, these team matches are always played in a good spirit. People like to enjoy themselves while they're playing. It's the evening session, of course, now, so everyone perhaps a little bit more relaxed than they would be first thing. See, it's the funny side of a couple of the shots he's played. Looking very assured though, Marad. He's taking these nicely so far. Oh, he's finished just a bit short there. He's indicating that it's neither one side nor the other. If he'd rolled a bit further, it would have been straight to the right centre. If he'd have stopped it short, it would have been straight to the top left-hand corner. Kind of finished between those options. He's going to have to clip it for the right centre. It's just a little bit thinner than he wanted. No problem at all though. Plays with the crowd. Nice to see. Another good frame from France there. Only one frame behind now. Wales currently lead by 7 frames to 6. Can hardly keep up with the action at the moment. The speed of play is such that the players are fair rattling through the frames on both sides of the arena. Position a little bit more difficult on the left-hand side, but that shot from Richard Gifford has somewhat opened things up. got a second visit, but he's not too enamoured with how this is all finished up. No choice but to try and tie that red up. He just didn't have any more attacking options left. Francois Maritel breaks us up on the right hand table. Up against Elliot Coombe. He's currently on 2 from 2 and has looked a pretty dangerous player. Not sure quite what happened there, but for whatever reason they seem to be having a re-rack. So, yellow ball down, and in fact red ball down, one of each potted. And from the layout of those balls, you fancy it could be a slightly quicker frame than the one that's currently being played on the other side of the arena, which has got a little bit scrappy. Francois Maritel has taken the reds. Oh, he doesn't want that ball going in. Well, better there than in, but that's made things a little bit tricky for France over on the right hand table. Francois strikes the table as he walks past. Very disappointed with himself. Looks to be putting himself into a bit of trouble, does Francois. Now he's pushed that yellow over the top left hand corner. Suddenly these reds are nowhere near as straightforward. Forced himself into a containing safety there. Elliot Coombe hasn't looked like a man who wants to mess around too much so far. He's played a pretty fast and furious game. Really too much to stop him here. He's not about to play a safety shot. All these yellows in open positions. Nice angle on this one in the middle to get down for the 2 at the bottom end of the table. Pretty relentless stuff from Elliot Coombe. Every time he's been given an opportunity, this is exactly what's happened. Just looks so carefree, doesn't he? Just strolling around the table like he's practising in the club. Good skill to have to be able to bring that to the match table. Another one up for Wales. They now lead by 8 frames to 6. We're slightly closer to a result over the other side. Richard Gifford's got 2 shots. Just missed with the first one, but if he can just navigate this yellow into the pocket, the frame will be his. Just needs to pot this remaining yellow with a bit of left hand side, hold the white up for the black along the baulk cushion. So a frame that could have gone either way. Brief tactical interlude in the middle, but it's Richard Gifford for Wales that gets the job done. Frame number 9 on the scoreboard. Wales ahead by 3 frames. This time they lead by 9 frames to 6. It's Tom Price for Wales that's racking up the balls on the right hand side. He's going to be breaking off in frame number 15 against Yannick Beaufils. Well, that's an unusual break. He'll certainly be pleased to see that he's potted a ball, because the balls have kind of split in half. All the reds on the left-hand side of the table and all the yellows on the right-hand side. This does not look like a frame that's going to be going on for very long. Everything pretty much out in the open. Well, he better hope that he's straight on the yellow to the top right, because otherwise he's immediately slipped out of position. Or can he get through to the... No. Well, gesticulates an annoyance at the top right hand corner pocket, but in truth that yellow never really threatened. Well, in fact, it looks like we may have had a substitution here. The original team sheet says Yannick Beaufils, but it's certainly not Yannick Beaufils at the table. I believe it's David Gonzalez, their reserve. Well, he used all of the pocket there, as we say. Force that ball in off the jaw. Normally when you catch that much of the jaw it doesn't drop, but it's got so much pace on it. Just knocked on the door and pushed the door hard enough that it opened. It's all about what he can do with the red on the right hand side, Kishan. The other two are fine and the black's fine, but he's got to do something with that red. You would feel he's going to have to double it, because there's no particularly obvious way to cannon it out from where he is. Or can he play it off the yellow in the centre? You see from that angle that's a more promising option. Well, that's what he tried to do. Can't quite believe it, it's just hung there. Second chance that Tom Price may not have expected to get. Shares a joke with his opponent. Tom Price, another of the Welsh players, on 2 from 2 at the moment. Just needs this frame for the perfect 100% record. Well, how's that for a shot? Everything's moving around. Picks out the double, cannons out the other balls. Suddenly the yellows look very good indeed. Just that one at the top of the table that is going to require a bit of care and attention, but as long as he gets close to it, that shouldn't pose a problem. This is looking like a good opportunity for Tom Price. Decided to take the yellow at the top right hand corner last. This is alright, but he's committing himself to leaving a relatively long distance black, I think. He's going to screw back a bit. I can't imagine he's going to risk screwing back too far. That's about as good as he could do without risking the pot. Good black down though from Tom Price. He completes his 100% for the match. Wins 3 frames from 3. Takes Wales to within 1 of victory. They now lead France by 10 frames to 6. Meanwhile, it's Stéphane Bonnet for France, who's at the table at the moment on the left-hand side of the arena. Just left himself a little bit thin on this clip along the baulk cushion. He's got a natural angle to be coming down the table, so he's just got to focus on the pot. Well, you can see from how far in the pocket that ball is. That really is as far as you can get it in without potting it. So all Andy Williams can do is, well, I was going to say all he can do is pot the ball over the pocket. In fact, that was the one thing he couldn't do. I thought he was going to have to just pot the yellow over the pocket and then leave some kind of double on the other one. He's given away 2 shots though. Got to imagine that Stéphane Bonnet is going to roll this red in or over the left hand corner. Is he going to hit a cushion? Well, I thought he might try and nudge it a little bit closer to the corner pocket, but that's turned out fine. So they're not going away, France. Been behind a couple of times in this match, but still putting on a good demonstration. Stéphane Bonnet deposits the black. France pulls 1 back. They now trail Wales by 7 frames to 10. Gareth Roberts is in the middle of a frame against Murad Bosch in the right hand side of the arena. And it looks to be Roberts that has the upper hand at the moment. Just eyeing up the red over the left hand centre. Obviously an unmissable pot, but just understanding what angle he can leave on that. Well, Gareth's considering that shot. Charles Lepavec steps up on the left-hand table to break off for France in what will be the 19th frame of this match. Plenty of power into the break. The red ball finds the pocket. A little bit of a twitch from Gareth Roberts over on the right hand side. That was by no means a straightforward shot, but he's potted some good balls so far. Firmly expected him to get that. Allows his French opponent, Murad Bosch, back to the table. Bosch is himself on 2 from 2, so another player with the opportunity to go 100% for this match. This match comprising of 3 groups of 7 frames, so each player can play a maximum of 7. If you're just joining us, you're watching live coverage of the men's team competition from the World 8-Ball Pool Federation World Championships, coming to you from the Imperial Hotel in Blackpool. This is a match in the group stages of the men's team between Wales, who currently lie second in the table, and France, who currently lie seventh. Total of 12 teams taking part this year. Standings at the moment: England at 1, followed by Wales, Ireland, Australia, India and Scotland, currently in the spots that would qualify for the knockout stages, the top 6 going through. Immediately below them, France, Northern Ireland, Malta, Mauritius, South Africa and Reunion Island. So once again, Marad Baish gets the job done for France. We've seen a big smile after his first 2 frames. See a big smile after this frame. The smiling assassin gets the job done. Pulls another one back. Wales still ahead though. They lead France by 10 frames to 8. Just 3 frames to be played and the match still live. All 21 frames will be played whatever the score, because the frame difference matters, but it's still up in the air which ones will actually be taking the points for the match. Wales still looking favourites, as they have been throughout. They took a 4-0 lead. They then watched France level up at 4-all, went 7-4 ahead, and have been ahead by at least a couple of frames ever since. So a dry break from Wales allows the French player Cedric Lecoilec to the table. Cedric won his first frame but lost his second, so be looking to avenge that defeat here. Well, Lecoilec is looking fairly purposeful about this, but still a bit of work to be done. Didn't get that last cannon quite right, so he didn't land on the ball at the bottom of the table, which he'd hoped to. Now here he was looking to leave this a little bit off straight. He just wanted the cue ball an inch or 2 to the left of where it currently is. That would have allowed him to pot this red into the top left hand corner and then stun over to the right. Well, actually he's managed to force too much angle. For a moment he looked annoyed with himself that he'd left it a bit straight. Then I think told himself that it was so close to being straight that he was going to have to really force the shot, and has ended up overdoing it. Now, can he still see enough of this one, the red nearest the bulk line? Can he do anything meaningful with it, or is he just going to have to skim off the side of it? Well, not sure quite what elements of the shot was intentional and what wasn't there, but he was joking that as he'd potted a ball he could carry on, but unfortunately it doesn't work like that. He managed to foul in the process. So it looks like we've had a substitution for Wales. Alex Lewis, the player, making way, and Spencer Jones steps up in his place. So, not a bad position this for Spencer. Just having to play a cannon there. Those two yellows bottom left didn't quite go and weren't quite a plant, which is why he's gone into them. He's got the yellows out okay, but the cue ball's finished a little bit awkward. Still got a pot to the top right hand corner pocket. The natural angle of the cue ball in playing this I don't think is quite where he wanted it, which is why he was having to dig down. Always harder when you're digging down. Charles Lepavec, I should say, in play for France on the left hand side of the arena. Not an altogether enticing position he's currently looking at. He's got a tricky-ish long red which has gone slightly astray. It looks like it may well have gifted the frame to John Coleman for Wales. He's got a yellow at the bottom of the table. It looks like it's blocking the path for the black, but the yellow itself will pot. So option one would be to play that, get position on the yellow at the top of the table. She's done nicely. That was actually relatively easy to mess that shot up. Very easy to lose control of the white and have it going behind or stuck to one of those reds. Good cueing from John Coleman. Just needs to keep his head still, roll this black in. Which is exactly what he did do. So that was the frame that Wales needed to win the match. They now lead by 11 frames to 8. If this was in the knockout stages, the match would stop at this point. But in the group stages, all the frames played because percentage of frames won is used as a tie-break in the event that the teams have the same number of points. So still important this for both teams. It's also massively important as a matter of personal pride for the players. First and foremost they want the team to win, but still everyone wants to do well themselves. "19 frames played so far in little more than an hour. Been a very entertaining standard of play so far. Good quality, fast-paced potting. A few tactical battles along the way, but generally fairly brief where there have been. Both teams very much playing their pool in the right spirit. So the final frame getting underway. Victor Labar breaks off against Richard Gifford. Oh, some great potting meanwhile being demonstrated by Spencer Jones. He was kind of backed into a corner. He had to go for this clearance because there was nothing else really for him to do, and he's taken very full advantage of it. What are two cracking yellows there. Well, he may only have been a substitute and he may not have played the first 2 frames, but quality stuff from Spencer Jones. Deposits the black and adds one more to Wales' score. They now lead by 12 frames to 8. So action on the right hand side of the arena is finished. Just this one final match on the left to finish off. Frame itself may not make much difference, but rest assured both players will be playing both for pride and for their statistics. And bar the black, not actually a bad situation at all here that Richard Gifford's in. All four of the remaining reds go. So Wales now have won 8 of their last 9 matches, only 2 more matches to play in the group stages, so Wales are guaranteed to go through to the knockout stages. Important though to maintain their current second place. The format is such that teams 3, 4, 5 and 6 play off against each other. 1 and 2 automatically go through to the semi-finals, so that's a big difference. Victor and Labara has won both of his first 2 frames, so looks to be in good form. Richard Gifford 1 and 1. So what can Labar do from here? What's the plan going to be for the yellow on the right hand side cushion? So try and get high on it and play a cross double. Well, elects for the safety instead. Not sure how safe this is. Not sure whether or not Richard really wanted that red to go in. He's going to have had a brilliant shot at the other one, so not the end of the world that it stays there. Victor and Labar running out of chances. There's 2 reds now in decent potable position, so can't afford any more mistakes in France. Opting for the safety, and no one can blame him for that. Very big target though to come off the bottom cushion as we currently look at it. A pretty perfect shot that, just skims off the red, doesn't do any damage, leaves it pretty much in position where it was over the pocket. I think there's going to be a few cagey moments until somebody makes a mistake here. I feel like a more difficult snooker is going to be required if Labar is going to have any intention of getting 2 visits. At the moment, this is again a very easy hit. Well, almost not such an easy hit. Managed to slip past the first one, but fortunately for him, caught the second one. Good confident pot that from Labar. Could have opted for the easier pot in the middle first, took the longer one instead. Looks to have finished quite nicely on this yellow to the centre. Might in other circumstances have played it for the corner later on in the visit, but that's worked out pretty well, and you can see how the table suddenly opened up. As Victor and Labar speeds around, just got to drop this yellow in, and then the black's there for the taking. So on balance, probably a fair scoreline. Wales maybe looked the shade better team, and that's reflected by the fact that they've won by 12 frames to 9. But a pretty commendable performance by the French. They were 4-0 down. In no stage did they let that get to them. Played the match in the right spirit. Everyone looked to be enjoying themselves out in the arena. They played positive pool and they played it in a positive mindset. We'll be back with continued coverage later on. But for now, Wales beat France by 12 frames to 9.